What's up, guys? So who doesn't love a classic? This is a MP5 clone that I built from a PTR. Now, PTR sells them significantly cheaper than HK, like about half, depending on where you look. I got this one for $1,500, and the Hk SP5 is around $3. So almost half as much, but still a clone. And I made it look like a classic. I've always loved the way the MP5 looked with this triangular handguard. This is an actual HK part that I put on. Like I said, this is a clone. And it was probably the cheapest thing that I put on here. The magazine costed more, and also an HK mag. And I think it turned out looking awesome. Now, the brace that I have on it is the Gearworks, right? That's the name of it. Gearheadworks, sorry. The Gearheadworks tailhook brace. Now, I actually really like this brace. So, I usually have it around here. And then you put it underneath your arm. I find it really comfortable, actually. It's a lot of fun to shoot this pistol like this. And you can shoot it like a traditional pistol with two hands and have it held by your arm. It braces right underneath your arm. I really like the way it feels. It's actually a lot of fun to shoot it that way. And it kind of resembles the classic look. Now, it's still not quite right, but it is pretty awesome. Now, I wish I can remember off the top of my head the adapter I bought. I'm going to put it right here, the name of it, because I'm going to look that up right after I finish filming. But it is a really well-made adapter. Now, you can get this for an SBR, where it will have a buttstock, or you can have it where it would fit the Gearhead's tailhook brace. And I went that route. I'm gonna have to get the bigger aperture. Much better. It's adjustable, as you can see by turning this turret. And when I was holding it out further, it was kind of hard to see through that. That's why I missed. But like I said, putting my arm through it like this, it's so comfortable. And it's a very solid feeling addition. Now, the one thing I don't like is to adjust it. There is a button right here. I would prefer the lever, because then you can hit the lever and pull out. With this, it's kind of a little bit uncomfortable. Or not uncomfortable, slow. That's the word I'm looking for. You can't just rip it out. But there is a trick to it. So if you put your hand in like this and push on the button, you can pull it out. But if you try to do it any other way, you're kind of pulling it out like this. But if you take your hand in and wedge it like that, you can pull it all the way out. I suppose you could also probably go like that if you wanted to. But it kind of resembles the HK look, but it's not quite there. This looks a little bit weird to me, and it's so much thinner than the original HK stock. This isn't a stock, and it's definitely not as comfortable as a stock would be, but it at least somewhat resembles it.
All right. I think I did better that time. Now, I really wasn't taking my time on the trigger pull towards the end, but that was my group starting out, and then when I started speeding up, I went a little low with it. But it is really easy to hit accurately with this pistol.
I like the way it looks on this pistol. It is a very tight fit, by the way. I had to tap it on with a rubber mallet to get it to go on. That's how tight the tolerances are. It is a very kind of a pain to get off to clean it, but so if you're getting one of these, just keep that in mind. This is a very tight fitting end cap. So how do I like the gun? Well, I love the sights on it. It's just so classic. I don't like the rail. Now, it makes a lot of sense. It was put on there well. You can tell that it was welded onto the receiver. I just wanted the classic MP5 that did not have this. The one that we always see in the movies that came straight out of the 80s. So when I see this rail, I'm like, yeah, that is something I would take off. But honestly, from PTR, that is really cool that they give you that rail. They also give you a really cool box that I can't use because this adapter is too big. So there's that. So if you're looking into one of these and you use that box that the pistol comes with, you're not going to use it anymore. Just saying. But yeah. Anyways, they do give you a lot of things. They also give you 2 magazines, and I don't like them. They're the clear ones, and I think they look a little janky, the way the follower sits in it. So I went and bought this Hk MP5 magazine, which gives it sounds so much cooler going in. And it looks so much better than the clear mags. That's just a personal preference.
All right, so this is not completely loaded up, but you can see the follower and the spring, and it just, I don't know. It just looks so janky. But the more you load into it, I guess, the better that looks. Okay. That looks kind of cool. I'll give you that. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever actually messed with a clear magazine. Never was a fan of them. And empty, I still say they look dumb. Half empty, the follower looks all janky. But fully loaded, it looks kind of cool. Hate to admit it.
This gun had some failures. Around the 300 round mark, we were having some failures to extract. Same ammo. The only thing I changed was the magazine. So I was kind of wondering at one point if maybe the magazine was an issue. I talked to my gunsmith friend, Sean Praske from Praske Gunworks, and he told me that I should upgrade the ejector if the problem persists. I got it through its 500 round break-in period, and I have not had one failure since. So maybe it was just a little bit of a break-in, I'm not sure. I'd want to shoot a lot more ammunition through this thing before I would use it for defense, for example, but it's been a lot of fun every time I shoot it. The HK slap, it's grown on me. It's definitely grown on me, and the feeling of pulling the bolt back and locking it up, okay, it's grown on me. I see why everybody loves it. At first, it wasn't doing much for me, but the more I shoot it, the more I'm like, okay, I kind of like it. But it's broken in very well. There was a point when this was so stiff. It's broken in really nicely, and like I said, it shoots very reliably now. Around the 300 round, well, so it was completely reliable for 200 rounds, and then around the 300 round mark, we were having some failures to eject. I have not cleaned this gun one time. And then it got reliable around the 400 round range, and I've shot 600 through this thing. So take that as you will. I love the tailhook. The tail release on this gun, it is right where I'd want it. That is the only control that I really like. The safety is very uncomfortable, in my opinion. It's not easy to engage the safety. Taking it off isn't bad, but engaging it is a little uncomfortable. You have to kind of break your grip like this to actuate it, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Not saying you can't do it, but I just don't like it. Now the trigger is between 9 and 10 pounds. When I got this gun, I didn't think it was that bad, but I also have a Century Arms C308, which has a way heavier trigger, and it feels worse and grinds. This one is a heavy trigger pull, but smooth. It doesn't feel like it grinds at all. And the reset is pretty long. So it doesn't have the best trigger out of the box. That's not something I'm going to replace unless I can, maybe the binary trigger if I was going to replace it. But it's not a terrible trigger. It's just kind of a heavy, longer trigger. It's smooth with a long reset. So trying to shoot this thing fast is a little bit more difficult. But it is such a smooth shooting gun because of that roller delayed system. It just absorbs so much of the recoil. I also really don't like the grip on it. That grip is really thin, and it's not the right angle for me. It just doesn't feel right to me. So I'm not a huge fan of the grip angle, the size of it. It is not a comfortable grip, but I really like this handguard. The triangular, it just feels really good in my hands. And like I said, it is fun to do the HK slap. And that charging handle is big enough that you can easily slap it. What else can I tell you about this thing? It also has a tri-lug adapter on the end, but it's not threaded. Now, some people would see that as a negative. I wanted it to not be threaded. I wanted it to look more like a classic MP5. So definitely wanted that to not be threaded. If you're going to put a suppressor on it, you probably would look at that as a negative. There are models that have the threading, so that's just something to keep in mind. I've noticed HK purists have said two things about this gun. One, it doesn't have the sling swivel on the front right here by the front sight. It also, they say, has uglier welds or exposed welds. I don't think that's a big issue. I think it looks nice in my opinion, but that's just me. I'm not wanting to spend $3,000 on a gun. But maybe that $3,000 gun would have been reliable out of the box. I don't know. All I know is this is so much fun to shoot with 9mm. It is accurate. It is fun. May not be as comfortable as I'd like it, but there's a charm to it that if you've never shot an MP5, you're missing out on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm glad I finally got around to making this review. I just had a lot of other things that I was working on, and I wanted to get at least 600 rounds through it before I did a review. I am a big fan of this pistol, and look how small it is, all collapsed. It just looks great. I don't know what else I would do with this other than add a sling to it. That's about it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. I got a couple cool things that are going to be coming up.